What's up, SFNEOnline fans? This is John, your co-host of The Grove Show, here for another episode of Why Are They Gone? This episode will form Tangled Webs We Weave, the Black Widow coaster from Six Flags New England. We're going to find out why it's gone now. So before we get into this, please subscribe, like us, and go on Facebook. Go on TikTok. Like us there. Look for our fun and entertaining selves on there as well. And you don't know what's coming up next. But let's get into this. So why is the Black Widow looping coaster going from Six Flags New England? Well, a little story that starts is Six Flags New England was once called Riverside Park. This was the time when the Black Widow coaster was installed. Let's go back in years, in the 70s, the era of Disco Inferno. Woo! Back in the 70s, when the park was actually taking off, and a bunch of different rides started to come. They got a Wild Mouse just before they ended up buying this Arrow shuttle looping coaster. Back in the 70s, the late 70s, it was installed into the park. But back then, the shuttle looping coasters became a hot item and became one of Arrow Dynamics' bigger models back then. So the park decided to go out and get this model, actually, from Arrow. It's a clone model, obviously. So, but they ended up going out and buying the Riverside amusement parks. Wanted to go out and buy a new coaster. They wanted to take more thrill seekers into the park. So they went out and grabbed this coaster. It also put the park also more on the map, also to compete with other local parks in the neighboring states around us. So they decided to come out and grab a new coaster. Well, back in the 70s, this coaster was hot. Thrill seekers loved it. It ended up, when it was installed into the park, they had no issues. This actually sat on a higher level than most of the midway, so you had to go up there and take stairs to get to the station. This was actually installed in the park before the original Cyclone coaster that was there. This was actually in front of Cyclone when it was actually when it was there. Nowadays, if you actually look into the park, the right behind the Scrambler and next where Flashback was where this Black Widow looping coaster was. But later on, this park ended up having some history happen to it. With this coaster, there was no bad details or anything with it. But the future of this coaster ended up becoming very bleak because of Premier Parks actually buying Riverside Amusement Park in the 90s, and in 1996 actually they bought the park and they started to build their profile, Premier Parks. So Six Flags New England was at that time still called Riverside Amusement Park. Black Widow coaster was basically there. They started to look at what rides were at that park and started to basically eliminate some of the older rides. Basically what the park does nowadays. So Premier was changing out a lot of different rides, and then in 1999 the park ended up closing and removing some rides. One was quite a few different of the rides. Black Widow was one of the rides that was closed in '99 and ended up being removed. They ended up moving the ride to what the former site of Old Indiana Fun and Water Park, where Six Flags was planning on building an amusement park. Year 2000, Six Flags New England was born. They changed the name from Riverside to Six Flags New England. But sadly, this Arrow coaster ended up not seeing any more riders after 1999. And later was actually scrapped in 2002, 2003 because it sat and just rusted. They ended up selling that land of the Indiana Park, and it went to waste. So, in conclusion, sadly, this Arrow shuttle looping coaster couldn't launch any new riders after 1999. And sadly, here's a little dig for you. Sadly, this was the only launching coaster that Six Flags New England had. Yeah, we had a launch coaster back in the 90s, but now we don't. So who knows what will happen in the future. Hopefully we'll get another launch coaster. But the Black Widow is dead. And sadly, it's not going to be coming back anymore. Actually, if Premier Parks and Six Flags actually wanted to do it, they could have kept the ride up and they could have kept doing the coaster. But in that place that they actually had the coaster, they put Flashback. Flashback replaced Black Widow. And then they moved Scrambler and other rides that are around there. And then later on, Cyclone became Wicked Cyclone, blah, 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 blah. We all know the history. But I'm going to get out of here. This was another episode of Why Are They Gone? Black Widow, dead. So, if you like this, please subscribe, like us. There'll be more episodes coming soon. Other New England parks that we have some rides for them. But I'm gonna get out of here for good, and until next time, y'all, keep on coasting, y'all. Peace.